Now, Mr. Noel Gallagher. Great to see you, Noel. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Man, you've written some great songs.
Indeed.
But before we talk about what you're doing now and all that, I read this in the papers this week. I want to check if it's true. Simon Cowell phoned you up, offered you the job to be one of the X Factor judges in this kind of series.
Yes, he did, to replace him. Yeah.
I imagine, an unexpected phone call to receive.
Yeah, well, because he's something to do with Sony Records, and I've got friends there, and somebody phoned me and said, Simon Cowell's after your number, shall I give it to him? And I said, OK, all right, whatever. And,
did you think what he might have wanted it for? What did you think he wanted it for?
I thought initially he might have wanted a song of some description, which is what I do, you know, and I was like, you know, all right.
OK.
And then I thought he might want us to sit in on, you know, like they do those where they have a guest thing for one show, in Manchester or something. So
and they're going to cover the music that you wrote, maybe.
I'll do that. I'll just put a lot of fat people through or something like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's good of you. That's good of you.
Turns out he calls anyway and he says, "Oh no, we're rebranding the show next year, and you know we need an alpha male." And I was like, "Okay." And he said, "We need someone to replace me, and your name's come up in the, you know, in the meetings." And I was going, "Nah, you don't really want me to do it." And he's very, very insistent for a good 20 minutes. But I was in on my own with my 4-year-old son Donovan, and he was kind of watching something on the telly, and he was following me around the kitchen, going, "Can I speak to Simon?" And I was kind of on the phone going, "Play with your pirates, come on." And he was going, and in the end he was crying, going, "I want to speak to Simon." And Simon Cowell's going, "Have I called you at a bad moment?"
You make Simon Cowell a lot posher than he actually is.
He's super. But then when I told... Obviously, I couldn't do it. I didn't want to do it.
Were you tempted, though? Were you tempted for
No, they don't want me on that show. I'm useless at that.
You like the show, though, don't you?
Yeah, well, I was the one who shared experience, me and my imaginary 11-year-old daughter who's sat in here. We have on a Saturday night. I don't mind it. People take it too seriously about its effect on music and that, I think. But my 11-year-old, she freaked out when I told her I wasn't going to do it. She was like... Because she told all her mates at school, you know. Oh. And she was just like, "Well, you're going to do it." And I was like, "I don't know." So when I came and I blew it out, she went, "But it's the X Factor!"
Presumably, I mean, she...
I said, "I know, but Louis Walsh." You know?
Even an 11-year-old has no argument for that. Because for her, I get, does she like your music or does she prefer the music she hears?
It's kind of a rule in my house. You've got to at least feign some kind of interest in it. Yeah. Yeah, she kind of... Yeah, she don't like it. She does like it.
She'll like it when she gets a bit older.
She's more into pop. I wouldn't really expect her to be into kind of my stuff, but she, like I say, it is kind of a rule. Like, have you listened to the new album? Have you listened to it?
Yeah.
What do you think? You know.
OK, new album, Noel Gallagher, first solo album. Sort of a surprise it's your first solo. I know you've always been in the band, but a lot of time people in bands, and they still do a solo project on the side anyway, and carry on with the band. But you waited until the band was over, then here it is, Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. I've been listening to it a lot. Out now. People don't buy the physical things so much anymore, they just download them, don't they?
Well, they can... Whether they buy it or download it, it doesn't really matter. It's still bloody good.
Now, so let's talk then about solo life in general. You being now a solo performer and how that differs from you being an Oasis. Because, sure, you know, and I want to talk to you about your relationship with Liam a bit if I can, because it's such a weird. It seems like such a weird thing from the outside.
It's very weird.
Yeah, because I've met Liam and he seems perfectly nice.
I've met him too.
I know. And I've met you, and you seem perfectly nice.
I am brilliant.
And you both seem fairly reasonable, but obviously...
We are, and the sad thing is, we are both reasonable guys, and he's really funny. I'm brilliant. It's great. But then there's the smashing orangey bit in the middle.
So what happens when you get together, and why is there not some kind of a common sense voice inside either of you that says, OK, that's going to push his buttons in the wrong way, pull back a little bit now, because there must be something where you both... And I don't think it's just him, and I don't think it's just you. Clearly, it can't just be...
Who is it, then? It's not me, and it's not him.
It's that bonehead bloke. No, you know what I mean, though? There's a kind of a... It's something that happens... It's something that happens when you're together.
Yeah, it's, you know, back in the day, it was a little bit different, and I don't know why we don't get on. We just don't get on, and let's be thankful for that.
But there's obviously a regret, because in the interviews I've read with you since then, is you obviously miss, maybe not him as, you know, a kind of participant in your musical ventures, but at the same time, you like the idea of Oasis, and you like the idea of the legacy of Oasis.
Yeah. I love being in a band. You know, there's no greater feeling in the world than walking out on a stage with your mates. And you know, I was in, you know, we used to get out of the back of cars at Wembley Stadium, and there'd be like 100 articulated lorries all there for you. I was come out of a rehearsals the other night for my tour. You know how many trucks are there?
I don't know.
One. One pathetic little truck.
So you missed the scale?
I missed the scale of it, and I missed the camaraderie of it, but... You know, we were at it for 18 years, and we went from just lads on a council estate with a battered acoustic guitar, and we took it around the world, we went everywhere.
One of the biggest bands in the world.
Yeah, and things just don't last forever, it's as simple as that. And the way that it ended is horrible.
This is what I found strange, because you only had like 4 or 5 gigs or something left in that tour?
I think it was 3.
3 gigs left, so if you could have just got through those 3 gigs,
yeah,
it would have been quite a clean break.
Yep. But he threw fruit at me. And I'm sorry, but once...
Well, there's no coming back from that.
Once the fruit basket has been tampered with, I'm out of here. Okay. The end.
I have read you speaking about What's the Story, Morning Glory, and saying it's a shame because it would have been great in 2015, the anniversary of that album coming out, it would have been great to maybe go out and play that whole album for yourself and for the fans. And now I hear that Liam has come out, he's read those comments, and he said, you know what, I wouldn't be averse to that.
Yeah. See, I don't believe he said that.
He said it.
No, I know him better than you do. He said it just so you could bring it up tonight on this show, on national television. Well, he's a very, 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 very clever man.
Huh? Maybe you didn't say that to him often enough.
No, that's true. No. No.
He tweeted it as well. He's on Twitter, isn't he?
Aren't you all?
Are you not tempted to join the Twitterati?
No. Nobody needs to know what colour socks I'm wearing.
Okay.
Black, by the way, but nobody needs to know what colour socks I'm wearing. I don't need to be on Facebook. I've got 6 friends. I'm trying to get rid of one of those. So I can count them all on one hand, and that's me done then.
So, if Liam isn't just saying it for effect, are you going to do it? Are you going to say, OK, let's have no fruit backstage, nothing that can trigger an incident, and let's do What's the Story, Morning Glory? Because I've never seen you do that live, the whole album. I'd love to see that.
I fear that you're not going to let me go without me saying yes.
Well, what's the answer, though? What's the answer, Morning Story, Morning Glory?
It would be nice, but we're not together anymore. We're not together anymore.
No, I know you're not right now, but listen...
It's like you don't go on holiday with your ex-wife, do you? Well...
But you didn't record loads of great albums with your ex-wife, so... He said he will. You said you want to.
Right.
Can we expect it?
I'm not under oath here. I don't have to answer this question.
You do have to answer it, but you don't have to necessarily stick to it in 3 years' time.
I will straight back this all night. I can stay here all night.
Just a simple yes or no will put us all out of a misery, and I can go and do a wee. So, and I'm telling you, you're right in the line of fire, so it's in your best interest to settle this once and for all. It'd be great, wouldn't it?
It would be. It would be great,
well,
yes.
Then just say yes.
Jonathan.
Yes, Noel. I'm here for you.
OK, I'll tell you what. I'll do it on the day that you go work for the BBC again.
Well, hold on. Before you get carried away, I'm actually doing a film show for them in about 3 weeks' time. So, we're going to take a break. More on that news when we come back. OK, OK, so welcome back. If you missed it, Oasis back together in 3 weeks' time. All right, so, recently you met up with, if we're talking about the past and moving on from it,
yeah,
you met up with Damon Albarn.
I did, yeah. Yeah.
Of Blur, and in the old days the press kind of stirred up a bit and you guys kind of seemed to encourage it, seemed to enjoy it. There was the big Oasis-Blur rivalry and you both had digs at each other and said things. You were quoted more often than...
Yeah, mainly me, I have to admit. I did more digging than anybody else, yeah.
And why? Is that because you enjoy doing that? You like that kind of conflict?
I was high as a kite, to be honest.
So if just someone asked you, you'd say something crazy?
I don't know what was going on about half the time. It was good, though.
But did you like the whole Blur versus Oasis thing going on?
At the time, it was quite exciting, and I literally bumped into him in a club the other night. I haven't seen him or spoke to him for 15 years, and kind of walked around this club, and there, bang, and there he was, and we was kind of just saying, God, wasn't it great? It wasn't music exciting at that time, you know what I mean?
Hold on, the first moment when you saw each other, was there a moment where you thought, oh, God, what am I going to say?
No, because I'd kind of wanted to say, look, about all that kind of thing, I was off my head, you know what I mean? And we had a good old chat, we had a beer together, and it was actually, it was a relief, I've got to say.
And looking back now, I mean, did you like Blur? You just didn't want to admit it at the time?
Well, you know, like I said to him, you can go around the world and, you know, say that you respect an artist 1,000 times a day in 100 different magazines and it won't get printed. Call somebody a once.
Would you know what, because I loved both the bands and the music was and it was of an exciting time. I would love to see you guys collaborate on something. Would that happen? Could that happen?
What, me and Damon?
Yeah.
I'm, you know, single and ready to mingle. Musically speaking, of course.
Hey, great to have you here. We're going to have some music now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very excited. It's from Noel's first and current solo album, High Flying Birds. Why is the band called High Flying Birds, just out of interest?
I was at home doing the washing up, and Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac, Man of the World, was on the radio, and I thought, what if I was called Noel Gallagher something? And then there's a track on the Jefferson Airplane album called High Flying Bird, and I, like a genius, put the two together. Bingo!
Like a genius. You've done a few warm-up gigs already.
No, this is our first ever live performance. We've done one in... Well, we've done one in a little country called France, which doesn't... But ostensibly, this is our first ever British live performance.
It's called AK What a Life. He's going to perform it live for you now. But ladies and gentlemen, will you join me in saying thank you to the fabulous Mr. Noel Gallagher? Go and get yourself comfortable.